Heather Emerson, welcome. How's your day? What did you do? I know you told me before, but enlighten us.
Well, Tuesday is kind of always what do I say? How do I say it? Tuesday is a crapshoot for us because literally no production whatsoever goes on Tuesday. So our team, our production team is off. So this means it's a day for meetings. It's a day of catch up. Sometimes if I haven't had a day off in a long time, I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to take a half day on Tuesday. Today I had meetings all day, including this one. I consider this a meeting.
Yeah.
Do you consider this a meeting?
In a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a day of meetings.
Wow.
Working on some cool, basically some cool promotions for our January reset, since everybody likes to eat terrible right now during the holidays and then go super, super clean in January. We're going to do like a specialized 21-day gut reset. And we are working on some events for that. So that was my day.
Tell us a little about those events, because we're definitely going to talk a little about business here, because we can't not.
Yeah. So my husband and I are members of Soho House here in Austin. And Soho House is a social club. Some people know about it. Some people don't. But it's membership based. And what's really great about that is they really like to support their members and promote whatever their members are doing and collaborate. And we've never really, I don't know how to say it. We've never done that before. So today I had a meeting at the house and I was talking to the membership team about doing some healthy, like health and wellness events at the house and promote this 21-day reset. And just kind of do something a little bit extra or something special for the members, because those are typically, you find at any Soho House in any city, there's a lot of like movers and shakers there.
Yeah.
So like pouring into those people, we pour into every single customer. It doesn't matter who you are. But whenever you have a customer who's a mover and shaker, you want to have like, those are the people that will go around and talk about your product, right? So from a business aspect, it's like, hey, I want to be good to them because they're fellow members. I want to like help them transform and feed them and nourish them and all the things. And I think there's going to be even more, like benefit for me as an owner. The first benefit being obviously help them. And then the second benefit, like hopefully they'll go and sing our praises and it'll be kind of like a double win for us.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay. And on paper, when you take a look at some different accolades that you've got personally, I would say, looking on the outside in, that you are an accomplished businesswoman. Is that safe to say?
That is so hilarious. I can see why, this will say, I can see why it looks that way. There's so much more for me to go. And I don't know that I worked really hard to I think get those accolades.
Yeah.
To be taken more seriously. Right. Like that's always a perk. But I don't know that means I'm like any more accomplished. I'm assuming you're talking about just an education and like awards and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd say exactly like that.
Yeah. I am personally like, on one hand, I'm super impressed with like letters behind the name and awards and all of that. And then on the other hand, like I've met some of the most incredible people that I've met, like have never been awarded. They've never been talked about. They've never done a single class outside of high school. So it really, to me, it's hard for me to say that those mean that I'm like anything special. One of those people is my dad, by the way, like that generation. Like you didn't have to go to college to do something really great.
Your dad?
Yeah, my dad. My dad's.
You look up to him?
Oh yeah, everybody does. He's like that.
Tell us more about that.
He's just that like work hard, like when you meet my dad, he's he's just never not working. Like he is just like, even when he's at home, he's like working on the cows or working on the land or cooking dinner or grilling for us. He's just constantly in motion. And it's like, how are you that age and you just go, go, go? And I think
wow.
There's a difference in like, there's people who work like that who, there are people who work like that who are like doing it because they're distracted, you know, like, and hey, I can't speak for my dad. Like maybe that is his thing, but what it comes across to me is like, he's just super in flow. He's like really aligned. He doesn't do things that don't bring him like true happiness and joy. And sometimes that's doing something you don't want to do because, you know, on the other side of that, there's a reward, right?
Where is he?
So I'm from Temple, Texas, and he's still there.
Nice.
He never left. So, yeah.
Awesome. So quick recap. Let's talk a little bit about some career highlights so far. Before we talk about that, I've got to make a note that the fact that you said that you've got a lot more to go, right? That's the true mentality of an entrepreneur. We're never done. Okay. So, yeah, respect there. And yeah, back to the career highlights. What would you say are some that are notable so far?
Yeah. So most people know me because I was awarded here locally Austin Under 40. So that's like the city highlighting. I don't know what the catchphrase is, but essentially Austin nominates. I forget how it goes. You get nominated, and then you get. How does it work? You get nominated,
and then you actually get,
and then you get like in the category, and then you have to win the category.
That's right.
So it's like it's like steps, right?
Yeah.
So I won the category for culinary arts and events, which to me is like, I know they have like a realtor group.
Oh.
And that has got to be like so competitive.
There's only 18,000 of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe y'all are maybe that's a more prestigious category, but to me, to get even just nominated and then much less like named. Oh, that's what it is. Nominated, finalist, named. Those are the steps. In a food city, like Austin is a food city.
Yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Like big time.
Yeah.
So I was like, what? I mean, wow. So that was a big one. I was nominated 2 years and I won on the second year. And then Forbes named me top 1,000 entrepreneurs for 2021. Wow. So that was a really, really cool award. I mean, side note, did they give you a plaque or anything by chance? Yeah. Oh. I got all the things.
What?
But you know what? Listen.
I'm listening.
Y'all, this is such a scam.
Tell us.
I'm going to talk some crap.
Yeah.
It's not a scam. Like the award is free. There's no like, you don't pay to play in these awards. Like that's kind of like, there are pay to play awards. These are not pay to play awards. But once you get the award, then they're like, oh, well, you can pay some money. And then, this is what it is. You got the award, but now if you want to use that in your title anywhere, you have to pay for licensing. So that was like, really? So I got this award, but I can't talk about it unless I pay. And they're like, yeah, and if you pay a little bit more, we'll do this. You pay a little bit more. So I always like to be transparent that I paid money to have that title, like to be able to use that title, Forbes Next 1000.
Yeah.
And I paid money. I bought the whatever package to where I got my article. I have an article on Forbes. So I just like to be transparent about that because it's not, I don't want anybody to think I'm like pretending like I won that, pretending like I just like got asked to write in Forbes. Like it was a package that they said, hey, since you won, since you were named, you can now pay this money to use that title, Forbes Next 1000. And also we would love to feature your writing if for a fee. So that's what I did. So that was a award that people know me for.
Worth it?
I mean, I checked in with them and I said, how is it doing? Like, what is the Google Analytics on it? And they said that my article performed just as good as some of their, like, you know, career journalists on staff. So it did do well. I don't know that I ever saw any, like, monetary benefit. I don't know that I'm, like, known as, like, this famous journalist or anything like that. But the whole purpose of me investing in that article was because I wanted to talk about the future of closed loop business. And closed loop meaning, like, what would it, just imagine, like, what would a world be like if companies were responsible for what happened to their packaging after it left the facility? Like, what would that look like? Like, think if you go into the grocery store and you just see, like, every single grocery store has thousands and thousands of single-use plastic or single-use glass or single-use, like, fill in the blank packaging. What would it look like if all of those companies switched to a closed loop where they were responsible for it being returned to them to be reused? And so it was just like, you know, going over that. So yeah, just look it up on Forbes, the future of closed loop business. So yeah, who knows? Maybe one day it'll be viral. Yeah.
Closed loop business. I have never heard that term before. And I think that it's important. Yeah. And it seems like you're one of the people in the world that are spearheading that initiative.
I'm trying to.
Right.
It's really hard when you're small. You know, we're small compared to, like, most companies, and we don't have that, you know, venture capital deep wallets. Like, we have to do it with true grit and super rewarding. Wouldn't do it any other way. But I do worry. I'm like, are we going to really make a mark? Are we really, like, I know we're inspiring people. I know we're, all of our customers we're super kind to, and we really want to make good impact. But are we really doing what we want to do for this earth, which is shift away from single-use fill in the blank packaging in general? Are we making enough of a dent? And the answer is no, right? Like, we're not. But that's where I said there's so much more to go. That's what I meant. There's so much more to go.
Yeah. Now let's talk more specifically about your personal journey, right? Because it takes a lot of focus, dedication, grit, like you said, to accomplish these types of things that you've done. And I'm sure that there were some hurdles along the way. Now, based on what you're willing to share with the listeners here, what stands out to you the most to where you almost said, you know, I don't know if this is for me. I kind of want to perhaps throw in the towel in all of this and do something different. Has that happened to you?
Like in relating to my business, Prep to Your Door?
Yes.
So you're asking if I ever wanted to throw in the towel? Oh, yeah.
And what happened? What triggered that thought?
Well, stress. Like, if I don't know how to figure something out, I feel like this is so not beneficial. This is, like, not a good way of thinking, but part of me sometimes feels like I've come this far and I can't figure out how to figure this out. And that means that there's no way to figure it out. So it's just not going to be figured out. And that's, like, such a, like, scarcity mindset, right? Like, the answer is literally you can turn the corner and see a billboard that gives you inspiration to how to figure something out. Like, that's how learning works. But when the stress becomes, I like to think about it like, what is your stress tolerance? And in some ways, my stress tolerance is like, you're not, like, I'm so hard-headed. You're not going to beat me. I will wait this out. I will wait this out and I will win. Like, that's in a lot of ways. And then other ways, I have zero stress tolerance. And then that's why I think my husband and I make a great team, because where I have really low stress tolerance, he has really high. And where he has really low, I have really high. So we kind of, like, puzzle piece together. And so He's never wanted to quit. He's never wanted to throw in the towel. He's, I'm a tortoise in the hare. He's the tortoise. I'm the hare. So if it's not going fast right now, I'm like, F this.
You have any specific examples of maybe even the last time you said F this?
Well, I think I've had a lot of F this moments lately because of the economy and just getting our profit margins like to a healthy place in a business. It's just kind of like abysmal right now. Everybody knows this right now. I don't know when this will air, but right now we're
next week.
So it'll air next week, but I don't know when everyone will listen to it. Someone might listen to it 5 years from now. So
that's true.
We're at the end of 2022, which is like the economy, everything costs about 20% more than it did a year ago. And in the food business, a healthy, I don't know if people know this, but a healthy profit margin for a restaurant, for example, that's the most common food business, is like 3%.
Wow. What?
So for every,
oh my gosh.
So for every $100 you spend at a restaurant, they're seeing $3 in profit.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
How come the mattress industry is like 800% markup?
That's really funny.
Wow.
I know a lot of like crazy successful, not a lot, I know a few, actually. I know a few crazy successful mattress salesmen, and now I think I know why. You can make really good money selling mattresses. So it's, it's really, really tight margins with food. Consumers see it as a commodity, and then you have all these overhead and operational expenses. So you can imagine when expenses go up 20% in some categories, like what that can do to small businesses. And we're seeing them drop still, right? Like COVID and pandemic, and like most places have not recovered, and then they're still not able to recover because of the economy. So I've had a lot of that lately, the stress, it's financial stress right now, because on top of that, everybody expects to get paid 20% more.
Why?
Well, in Austin, the cost of living, right, has skyrocketed because I think our population growth, I think every single day we have 200 people moving here. So affordable housing is non-existent.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, so, one of the big stressors for us was increasing our prices quite a bit and watching like some of our really, really tried and true long-term customers cancel their subscription. I mean, tears were shed. I mean, these are people that like were with us through so much, and just to see them cancel and not be able to recover them because our pricing is out of their budget. It's not personal, right? It is what it is. It's really, really hard. And that makes me want to quit. I like to win. I don't like to lose. It doesn't feel good when you feel like you're losing. So a lot of that. But I will tell you what's been really beautiful, and I truly believe this about anything difficult, is, like the analogy is, or the metaphor is, after there's like a really, really strong forest fire, do you know what happens to the soil?
It becomes enriched.
Like crazy. Like crazy enriched.
All right. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So like all those ashes, like all those minerals just go into the soil, and the soil is more fertile than it's ever been before. And so that's an extreme example. I don't want my business to burn down, okay? I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that through any type of like struggle, on the other side of struggle, there's like usually like something really, really cool. And sometimes it happens through the struggle. So right now, like we're through the struggle, right? Like we're in the struggle.
Now.
Oh yeah, we're in it right now. I think everybody's in it right now.
And
I'm talking to my fellow small business owners, and they're talking about closing their doors because people aren't buying. People aren't buying right now because they're scared. Again. People aren't buying. Well, you're a realtor. They're not buying, right?
That's right.
They're not just buying. I didn't even put that together about homes. I thought homes was considered like a necessity. But they're not buying. They're not buying necessities, and they're certainly not buying like what they consider to be extra, like nice to haves, the way that they were a year or two ago.
Totally.
So we're going through that right now, and it's so cool because we're having that like enriched soil moment where we've completely created a new product for, like I said, the 21-day reset, and we're having incredible results. Like we have doctors that are doing this reset, and they're like, I'm sleeping better, I'm not bloated, I'm learning to make better food choices, like really life-changing results. And so those are the ashes that are like creating new things for us to make to serve our customers. So yeah, I've wanted to quit a bunch this year, if I'm being honest, but I haven't ever quit because I always go back to my why. And my why is, I know this needs to exist. I know that food needs to be done differently. There's like no part of my body that believes otherwise. And so I think when you have your why, you can totally get through those moments of like wanting to throw in the towel. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
And your husband shares this mission with you.
Yeah.
And did y'all connect off based on that?
Mm-mm.
How did that all evolve?
No, we connected over education. He was in education, and I was in, when I met him, I was doing people's resumes. Oh. And I was a former teacher, so why do you say interesting?
Well, it was y'all were in kind of the same field.
Yeah, a little different. I think I had a past in education, and that's what was keeping us together. But basically, we were taking a graduate level class, and do you know what the ACT is?
No. Oh, is it kind of like SAT?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like the cousin to SAT, and most people know more about the SAT than the ACT.
Yeah.
But both are college entrance tests that you can take to get in. Mm-hmm. So the ACT hired our class to do a project on, like a consulting project on how would you help people. Basically, their goal was to get people beyond the standardized test. Like, how do we actually help people find meaningful employment not just education, but meaningful employment. And so it's where education and resumes overlapped. And so we worked on this project together, and him and I are both really, really passionate about, like, think about all the things in the world that are like the big things that impact people. So that goes from, like, in our case for our food, like food, sustainability, like we're both fascinated. Like, how can we make the world better? How can we make it where people are actually able to all come together to have impact on their lives and impact on our future of our world. Mm-hmm. So I know that's really broad, but that's, in education, employment, sustainability, food, like, think about all the ways that these systems touch people. Mm-hmm. My husband and I, we share, like, we think really, really big in that way. He thinks actually bigger than me in some ways.
How'd you all discover that you both thought like that?
Just through, like, deep, deep conversations. That's something that we've always had. We've always been able to talk about everything. And so that's how I knew he was my person.
Yeah.
Like, there's no like topics that are off the table.
Oh, and to get a little deeper on why I said interesting, I remember now, because y'all were doing something that actually doesn't have to necessarily do with this.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you both have a similar passion and find out that along the way, and here you are now, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's like universal alignment stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we actually met, and, like, we were like, education needs to be completely redone. Like, it's all BS. Like, we're so mad. We're like, it could be so much better. We know people can be better. so we were passionate about that. And through that, I was like teaching him about plant-based foods and how, I mean, this one line, you know, I don't know if you've heard this line. Have you heard the line, if you want to end world hunger, become a vegetarian?
I've never heard that.
Yeah. So, and it's true. Like if you, okay, let's just say.
No, go ahead. Go for it.
It's like,
yeah,
it's true in a lot of ways. I'm sure you can poke holes in it, but essentially if you trace all of the food that is made to feed livestock and you divert it to countries that are starving, world hunger would be completely ended.
Whoa. That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like, it's so many animals. I mean, like in pharmaceuticals, over 50%, I think I want to say 60 or 70% of all antibiotics goes towards livestock. It doesn't go towards humans. Like there's so many animals that are being raised, slaughtered for consuming. And if we were to just take that equation out and divert all that food to humans, like, so anyways, I think I told him something like that, something like big and grand like that. His little, you know, his head perked up. He had never thought about being vegetarian or anything like that. And my story is going vegetarian healed me. Like I was on a lot of medication and I got off all my medication on accident. I didn't even know that happened. I just had somebody tell me, you should try it. And I was like, I was so broken at the time and I was like, I'll try anything. So I tried it. And then like within 90 days, I was off all my medicines. Not because I tried. I never thought I would get off my medicines, to be honest. And it was all mental health related for the most part. There was some immune support stuff, but it was like sleeping, anxiety, depression, like all of those things. And so by the way, I'm not vegetarian today, but I'm predominantly vegetarian. And what I learned through that was that I was just really malnourished and I had a lot of inflammation in my body. And I think that that's true for the majority of our population. You know, there's this growing need for nurses and hospitals and pharmaceuticals and new diseases. And we didn't have those 50, 100 years ago. That's all new.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's all new. And there's a reason. And it's because our food has changed.
We're doing some weird stuff to people back in the day.
Yeah.
To help them.
What do you mean?
Like, what's that thing when they put a needle in your eye or whatever? You know what I'm talking about?
Are you saying that we used to use more holistic means of helping people, or are you saying
holistic, aggressive? Like what's that thing that they used to do? They put the needle up in your eye and then they used to hit it with a hammer. I don't know.
What was it for?
If somebody was acting kind of deranged, perhaps it would turn them kind of into a vegetable. Are you talking
about a lobotomy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, we used to do that stuff way back in the day.
Yeah. I just read apparently JFK's sister had a lobotomy.
What?
And they didn't talk about it. And she like lived her whole life in state hospitals. And yeah, I just read it on that, you know, that Instagram page, History Photographed.
I'm going to have to check it out.
Yeah. They just do like really cool photographs of history and they tell you the story behind it. And anyways, they showed a picture of her like in her, you know, teens. She's beautiful. And they showed a picture like after her lobotomy. Apparently she was like real wild and didn't follow the rules. And the family, the Kennedys, had her have a lobotomy and she was like incapacitated after that. Like she was like 2 years old.
That's dark.
Yeah, it's super dark. But
come a long way.
I think I don't know if we always had mental health issues like that. I don't think they were as prevalent as they are today if we did. And I think that our food and our lifestyles, I mean, I don't want to like braze over that. We used to have multi-generational households, right? You'd have great-grandparents living in the home with you, really tight-knit communities, culture, all of that's kind of been stripped away. In our fast-paced lifestyle, we work so much, like there's a lot going on, but food is a big component. And I think it's exacerbating our medical diseases that are popping up.
How about the fact that some of our foods here in America are banned in other countries. Some ingredients in our foods are banned in other countries, right?
Yeah.
As an example.
Yeah. Preservatives and chemicals and There's some things that are allowed to go in they're allowed to go in our products, but not our food, or our food and not our products. I don't know, but it's the same thing to me. If you don't want it on your skin, why do you want it in your body? Or vice versa, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it's just testing. We don't have enough research to show it's really bad.
Yeah. Daily and $1 short in some cases, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're here and you're in a rough patch, right? What do you kind of tell yourself every day? Not a rough patch. You're in one of those areas where it's like you said, you're in it, right? You're in the tough stuff right now. You're grinding it out. And what do you tell yourself every day to continue to wake up and get after it no matter what? Even when you're like, I just want to throw in this towel. Where do you seek inspiration? How do you keep going?
I mean, I don't think that I have anything that anybody else doesn't have. I think I'm not, like, I don't have any extra inspiration. Like, all I can say is that I truly believe that this company, our Prep to Your Door, I truly believe that what we're doing can change people's lives, change our food system. It's what needs to be in the world. So whenever you find something in the world that you believe in so deeply, you don't really need inspiration, right? Like it's just a fact. So that's why I really, really preach to people to like find something that you believe so deeply needs to exist. Like whatever it is you do in the world, find the thing that you believe through and through, and do that thing. And it doesn't matter how hard it gets. It doesn't matter. It's like when you get really angry at your friend, you're going to come back a few days later and you're going to be like, yeah, I was being emotional, said some things I didn't mean. You're my friend. Like, it's the same thing with your business. It's like, you know what? I was just having a bad day. I don't want to quit this. Because you know in your heart the truth. So that's all it is for me.
And how long ago did you get to this truth?
From the beginning.
What year-ish?
Well, I had the idea. So in 2004, 2005, that's whenever I went vegetarian and got off all my medicines. And at the time, I did not know that food was something you could do for the rest of your life. Like, I just thought if you wanted to do food, you'd be a chef. Like, that's it. And I was working at Whole Foods here. That's how all of this happened. And I remember looking, when they first opened the flagship store. It was brand new. And I looked back there and I saw how the chefs would work. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to do that. Like, I knew to my core, I didn't have what it took to be that kind of person. Y'all, chefs are the hardest working humans. I mean, they live at the restaurant. They are on their feet all day. They can be late hours. They can be making the most healthy, beautiful food, and they probably are eating like Burger King just because they're just like trying to get through the day. So I was like, I don't want that. I didn't realize there was a career in food any other way. I know that sounds crazy, but I was young. I was only 19, or maybe I was 20. So I just thought, well, I still need to go to school. I need to do the thing. I need to get a good job and like be respected and like all of those things. And anyways, even though I did all of those things, food never left me. And the transformation that food provided me never left me. And so when I met my husband years later, again, I wasn't doing food. I just started making this food for us. And I was teaching him about the food. And he was just like, what? Who are you? Where is this coming from? Like, and the more he learned, I think he just like He's not somebody who just believes you at your word. He has to have all the science and all the research. And so he started researching, and he was like, wow, a lot of what you're saying, I'm finding, evidence for that. And so we started the company. And then right after we started the company, this movie came out called What the Health. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see that movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did.
And
on Netflix.
He was like, this is all the stuff you've been telling me. And I'm like, I know, I've been telling you this, but I was like, I didn't know how to speak to it like intelligently. And so anyways, the more time we did it, like the more he believed in what we were doing. At first it was just supposed to be kind of a side hustle for us, which is hilarious because there's no such thing as a side hustle in food.
Agreed.
And so he, really, I think what Fayez, my husband, what really sold him was learning about our soils and learning like how farming and consumerism, like all of these things are just damaging our soils to the point of in 2050, which is right around the corner, whether we like it or not, there will not be enough minerals and vitamins in our soil to grow food. So we are currently, even though it's only 2022, we are currently at risk for not being able to grow food in the future. Nobody knows. Nobody's talking about it. People know it. Look it up.
I believe it.
Yeah. So we have to do something now because we can't wait till food's no longer growing. We can't wait. We can't wait for then to make a change. It's now. We have to start decades in advance to really make a sizable impact, especially at the rate at which humans are growing. Mm-hmm. So I feel like what we're talking about is very heavy, and this is why I'm saying, like, I can't quit.
And if there's one influential person that you would like to be connected with, who is that? To help with your initiative?
I've never sat down with him, but I know he eats our food. His wife orders our food. But I would really love to sit down with John Mackey, the founder of Whole Foods, because I think what he did I want to do what he did for food. Like, he brought organics to mainstream. Even though, it's not the same Whole Foods as it was. It's not. It was so much better before. And he knows that. Everybody knows that. But before Amazon took over. But I would love to sit down with him and just like figure out what can we do here? What can we do better? What do you see? I don't know. I would love to sit down with him.
Where does he live?
Oh, he lives here in Austin.
Here.
Yeah, like I said, his wife orders our food. So I know he eats our food. Okay. But I've never, reached out or anything like that.
What's one thing you would ask him that if he heard this, you'd want to know?
I think I would just want to know about, it's never, okay. I want to know about his story. Mm-hmm. That's it. Because when you ask somebody for advice, you think you're asking that person, what would you do if you were me? But how they're answering that is actually, what would you do if you were you? Because they've never been me.
Right.
And they'll never be me. So I don't know that advice is always super helpful. I think really I just want to know, what did you think and how did you navigate? And I'll try to draw like parallels and conclusions from that.
Okay. Noted.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, I take it.
Yeah. If you've never listened to him before?
No.
I'm pretty sure he has like openly said that he's, I don't know if you would call it, do you know what Asperger's is?
Yes.
So I think he's made some comments like that he has something like that. And so one of his things was like he had to learn to be a people person, because that's not, because he has, I think he said something to that effect. If he has not, you guys, I'm so sorry. But I'm pretty sure he has like openly said like something about the spectrum, and a lot of people are on the spectrum and you never know.
Right. It's true.
So I think he's one of those people. Like you would never know. Maybe you just think he's quiet or something. Right.
Yeah.
So I think I've seen him at Whole Foods, but I've never approached him because I know he's like not a people person. Like that's not his thing. And so I don't know. And also privacy, like just let the guy live. So I think he's probably a super nice guy, but I don't know what it's actually like to meet him. And when he talks, he's like so smart that like you can't really grasp what he was going to be like, because he talks about just the topic. He's just really smart guy.
I need to look him up.
Yeah.
There's got to be YouTube videos of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's super, you'd never know. You'd never know he was like responsible for transforming our food. And, you see him around town, just looks like a normal guy. And I think he's in his 60s, just like a normal guy.
And is there any business people out there? Actually, it doesn't have to be business people, but any influential person that you typically like to emulate.
I like to emulate?
You aim or strive to emulate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I want to be Oprah.
Mm-hmm. And what specifically about Oprah?
Oprah changes people's lives. She tells like you were kind of talking about how that's why you do your podcast. You like want people to tell their stories. I think she shines a light on people's stories and always comes from a place of helping. Mm-hmm. And she's just super influential. Like I would be so down if I was half of what Oprah was. I'd be happy.
Wow. Okay, so let's ask a question. What's something you can do before the end of the year that's going to get you one step closer to having the influence that Oprah did?
Oh, well, it won't be before the end of the year.
All right.
Because I got stuff to do, but I am working on my own podcast. So kind of the same, she did it through television. She actually has a podcast too, but yeah.
And can you drop any breadcrumbs for us about the podcast, or is it a secret?
Oh, it's not a secret. I've been working on a podcast for years.
When you say working on it, what do you mean?
So my master's is in journalism, and part of my graduate curriculum, I worked on my podcast. So I did some then, took a break for a long time. Then I recorded some episodes, never did anything with them, never edited them, nothing like that. And now I'm finally ready to like do something. Like it's close. Like it's going to happen in the next few months. It's just, I'm making moves. I'm making moves for that.
Whoa.
Yeah. I got to hire somebody, right? Like that's one of the moves. Do you do all this yourself?
Right. Time.
Do you do the editing?
No.
Yeah. So that's something. Yeah.
Right.
So I got to find. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's going to be awesome.
Thanks.
Any idea of the name? Do you have the name? In case somebody wants to pop it in 3 months.
I don't have the name yet, but I'm sure you'll find it if you just Google my name, Heather Emerson, because that'll be part of it. And
speaking of that, you've shared some really empowering stories today, and lots of golden nuggets as well. If somebody were to perhaps ask to pick your brain for a couple of minutes, or somebody inspires to be like you or aspires to be like you, and you've got a second to spare for them, how can they reach you?
Oh,
how can they find you?
Yeah, you can email me, heather@preptoyourdoor.com. Mm-hmm. You can find me on Instagram at the Heather Emerson. And then you can check out our company, preptoyourdoor.com.
Definitely check out preptoyourdoor.com. Awesome. Awesome. And before we sign off today, anything that you'd want to share in regards to your legacy? Let's say somebody hypothetically listens to this in 100 years, and you want to send a message to that person. What would it be?
What would the message be in 100 years? Well, I always say don't let anybody else tell your story. So I I mean, that's my motto. So but you got to figure out your story.
How does one do that?
That's different for every person.
Yeah.
But like, you know what your demons are. Only you know what you're avoiding. Only you know what you're being like, I guess avoiding. Yeah. You have to ask yourself that. And I think that is part of telling your story. Like, where do you feel shame? Where do you feel sadness, anger? Like all of that, underneath that, there's like so much uncovering and learning and a deeper understanding of yourself. And that is, I believe, how you truly tell your story is knowing yourself and knowing your demons, right? Like that's the hardest journey for anybody. And some people don't ever do it. They just, it's too much for them.
They don't want to take the blindfold off.
Yeah. Or they don't want to ask those hard questions to themselves. They just don't, they would just rather do their 9 to 5, do their routine.
You ask the hard questions to yourself.
I ask the hard questions.
On a practical sense, what does that look like?
I mean, I literally write out, what am I afraid of?
That's pretty cool.
And I have to answer that.
I do that too. I call them ask-affirmations instead of affirmations. Like, I'm fearless. I am fearless. You can say that all you want. Or are you like really fearless, right? Instead, you ask yourself the questions like, what, like you said, what am I afraid of? Or what would a fearless person, how would a fearless person conduct themselves today? Answer that. And then emulate that, perhaps.
That's cool.
Ask the questions.
Yeah. Like a recent one is like, do I think I'm worthy of success?
How'd you answer that?
Well, it wasn't a yes.
How come?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Why wasn't that a hell yes? Because when it's a hell yes. When somebody asks you something like, do you love to travel? Yes. Like there's no hesitation.
Right.
So when I wrote that question out and it wasn't an immediate yes, oh, okay. What is that?
Now,
and that's embarrassing. That is so embarrassing to say, to feel, to think. But that's okay. I'll figure it out. And then that answer will be yes.
Let me ask you this. Let's say you asked yourself that question a year ago. Would it have been a yes?
I don't know. I didn't ask myself a year ago, but I would probably say no. I don't think I've all of a sudden, not think I'm worthy. I think it's usually it's deeply rooted in childhood, upbringing or trauma or, whatever it is. Most of our belief systems about ourselves were formed at a very young age.
Under 7 years old.
That's when our brain is mostly forming.
Right.
But it can happen after that. Like you can believe you're amazing. And then after 7, your parents get divorced and, you never know. But yeah, things can change. So I don't know. So yeah, I just say like, tell your story. And if when I say tell your story, I mean like know your story first. And so I would say that in 100 years. And I would also say if 100 years from now you're listening to this, I would say, I hope that we have left a legacy like, what is the company that just sold that put it all in a trust for their employees? It's a sustainable company, not North Face.
Patagonia. Are you serious they did that? Wow.
He it was like $44 billion company or something like that. And he was like, yeah, I'm putting this in a trust and the trust is going to be managed, lawyers, attorneys, financial advisors, whatever. And it's all going back to, nobody owns the company anymore. I don't want it to go to Blackstone or, I don't want it to end up in the traditional financial, part of the problem situation. I want it to be for the people and for the earth and for the environment. And he put it all in place. So I hope in 100 years, that's what we've done with our company. Because the guy's still got money, right? He's got enough money. They don't, he doesn't need any more money.
Right.
It's legacy and purpose. And how do you do that? So that's what I would say if you're listening in 3022.
3022. Wow.
No, that's 1,000 years.
Yeah.
So it'd be 2,122. Sorry.
2122.
2122. Yeah.
Whew.
I had that wrong.
Wow. I can only imagine there's going to be things flying up in the air.
Oh yeah.
Cars and stuff.
Yeah. It's not going to be the same at all.
Yeah.
It might be that way in a few decades, actually. It might be in our lifetime.
Sooner rather than,
Yeah.
Let me think. Well, thank you so much for coming by and sharing your wisdom and words of encouragement to the listeners. I think that whoever listens to this will be empowered and inspired, to say the least. So, folks, don't forget to holler at Heather if anything comes up. Seems like a really nice person and very willing to help. Till next time, Greg Carlson, Pivotal Moments Podcast. Bye.